We know player housing is coming to World of Warcraft, and a lot of people have been wondering how this is going to be implemented, right? And as of like a few days ago, I didn't even realize Blizzard made this post. We have gotten more insight into what it's going to be like. So let me just swap over here on the old scenes to player housing Azeroth Living, a look at housing rewards, all right? So here we go. Welcome home, adventurers. At the end of our previous article, we asked a few questions regarding the source of decorations and how professions fit in. Today, we're going to answer those questions, talk through philosophies for housing rewards, and provide a few more details on the decoration economy. Before starting, we want to state our usual disclaimer. This is still a work in progress and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Setting up our guiding principles. We began our discussions by drafting a few guiding principles to inform our design. Progressive journey. Similar to housing pillar of long-lasting journey. I don't even know what this is. Players should expect the collection of decor to be just that, a journey. A collection of the collection of the perfect room and house is something to strive towards, not to run to a vendor and complete on a day or on day one. Okay, that makes sense. They don't want you like decking out your house day one, right? Although I feel like a lot of people are going to do that anyway. I think they're underestimated. This is like whenever people are like, we don't want players to finish everything in one day. Somebody's going to finish it in one day, all right? That's just the way it is. Furthermore, this journey should be engaging and possible for most players, regardless of how hardcore or not they may be. Put another way, getting any single piece of decor should eventually be possible, but getting everything should be incredibly difficult. Can't talk today. There we go. Granted, I can't really talk most days. Core gameplay with variations. Similarly, we want to reward decor through a wide variety of our core gameplay in World of Warcraft. We don't want decor to come from only housing-specific activities, though some will, which I think that's great. Because that means there's going to be a variety of ways to get stuff. The same way that, like, there's a variety of ways to get mounts, right? You get it through achievements, old raids, the store. Everyone's favorite way to get mounts, the store. Where am I? But instead, meet you where you are. However you choose to enjoy the game, whether it's solo questing, crafting decor with professions and using the auction house, running dungeons with your friends, or raiding with your guild. And then reverence for the past. Some of you have been playing for 20 years, and we want that time to feel worthwhile. Your past adventures and time spent in Azeroth means your collection will have a leg up, and you won't have to start from square one doing all your housing stuff. Fantastic, because I was thinking that, like, if I have an achievement and they're going to reward an achievement with some sort of piece of furniture, which they are, I read ahead in the article earlier, they are doing that. I don't want to have to go do that achievement again. I don't want to have to, like, do all that, right? So the fact that they're, grandfathering in furniture, which sounds kind of insane when you say it like that, is pretty cool. So that's neat. All right. So it's about the journey, not the decoration. The progressive journey principles means that the majority of decor types, chair, bed, shelf, etc., are considered commodities and are readily available from vendors, other players via the auction house, spoiler, questing, and so on. If you want a wooden chair, it's very easy and inexpensive to acquire. Okay, that makes sense. Next, there's decor, which are generally, I don't want to log in, more niche items in either theming, looks, or appeal, which require more time and or cost investment. Examples could be a sparkling fountain with particle effects or magical books that flap about on their own. Okay. Lastly, there are what we think of as trophies. These are things that require skillful play, cooperation with others, and or large time commitments. Think along the lines of Mythic Plus and raid rewards or long-term achievements. If you're looking to mount Nixia's head on the wall, you'll have to defeat her and take it. Which that made me curious because I've already defeated Nixia, right? So I'm wondering if you have to like get the Onyxia's killed achievement and then they give you your Onyxia head, or if I have to go kill Onyxia again and then maybe you loot her head, which is then going to be, you loot it and click it and it's like, bling, right? Like you learned a new mount or pet or something. Because then if we look at the scene and we click on this thing, it's got a little adventure guide loot table for a dungeon in the next expansions. You can see one of the things is the Argusian crate, which that's going to be memed in terms of whatever. Add this decor to your house chest. So it's got a use. So them putting this in just makes me think of that, right? Like, do I have to go kill a Nixie again and then the head drops and it looks like that, where it's like, add a Nixie's head to your blah, 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 right? So that's kind of what I'm thinking, but we'll see. One of the powerful, oh wait, I switch back. One of the powerful aspects of decoration is that since it's cosmetic by nature, placing hard to acquire things throughout the game gives players reach goals that don't hamper their character development and they're free to pursue. Or not, just like mounts and transmogs. That said, it should be easily possible to kit out your home on day one to strike the vibe you're looking for without too much effort. Your decor journey should start out awesome and continue to be that all along the way. Okay, cool. Yeah, sounds good. Variety is the spice of life. When we first were drafting this article, there was a line that read, "Where can I get the decor?" Yes. Well, that didn't answer my question. While pithy, it's not far from the truth either when it comes to our second principle of core gameplay, with variations. Decor should come from everywhere and everything. I agree. We want you to find decor rewards in all sorts of gameplay, not just a single avenue that you feel forced to interact with over and over. For example, while a specific jade-inlaid bookshelf might come from a particular quest in Pandaria, other bookshelves can come from vendors, professions, or other varied forms of content. And then they show Captain Lancy Revshan, which, what a name. Stormwind Hall Rug. Add this decor to your house, and you have to be revered to buy the Stormwind Hall Rug. So right away from that, we know that there's going to be reputation locked rewards, which in itself tells you that there's probably going to be like Burning Crusade rep that unlocks furniture. There's going to be like Pandaria rep that unlock, right? There's going to renown rewards. There's going to be all sorts of furniture and decorations, I should say, not just furniture. They're locked behind certain aspects of renown or reputation, right? So I don't mind that, but it's like something to keep in mind of like, dude, I should probably go get that reputation up that I've been meaning to get up, because there might be some sort of housing thing behind it, which I think is great, because this is something that I've wanted for so long with World of Warcraft, is for them to make old content relevant again. And they've been doing that, right? They've done remixes, they've done, you know, I mean, mount farming in itself and pets and stuff like that, and transmog all kind of makes old content relevant. But I feel like this is, it's on another level, it feels like, because there's so many ways you can implement just, you know, decorations where somebody might not even want to go back and get a certain decoration, right? It's like, do I go get my Sporgar rep up so I get a mushroom chair, right? Like somebody might be like, I don't care, I'm not going to go do that, whatever. But somebody else is like, I need it, right? I need everything. And somebody else might like mushrooms. They're like, yo, I'm going to go get the Sporgar thing, right? So I think it is nice. It adds the variety. It makes old content relevant again. And I just like that. I always like when they can make old stuff relevant again. Yes. So, and then the other thing they mentioned here is the quests. So that's another one that I'm like intrigued by, because that means there's going to be a quest for something, right? They say from a particular quest in Pandaria. But if I've already done that quest, then I probably would get the reward already, right? So, because I feel like a quest is weird. There's not like an actual achievement for a lot of quests. You know what I mean? It's like maybe you have to go talk to the quest person again, and then they give you the reward. Maybe it already detects that you've completed the quest, and then you just get the reward automatically. Like, I don't know. There's actually a lot of weird things here that they're going to have to figure out, but I'm sure that's what they're working on. Anyway. Thanks, past self. Finally, the principle of reverence for the past encapsulates a few things. All time spent in Azeroth is worth something. We're leveraging legacy, reputations, professions, and more. If you've achieved something in the past, we want to embrace that time spent. If you raise your reputation to exalted with someone, you'll be able to purchase their goods right away. If you completed an achievement 10 years ago, that rewards a new piece of decor today. You'll be granted that piece of decor on login. Legacy decor should be well integrated into the appropriate existing content and not feel crowbarred in. For example, using the local systems and currencies of a piece of related content, such as Mechagon's junkyard tinkering, when it makes sense and it's available. So that's an interesting one, because I think there's a lot of times where people have had, for example, Mechagon's junkyard tinkering, and you get everything you need to do there, and then you're like, well, I'm never going to use this again. But now maybe you do have to go back to the junkyard to make a robot that stands in the corner of your house, right? Like, I don't know. And you have to use this junkyard tinkering system. Well, maybe you were just throwing all those currencies away because you're like, I'm never going to do it. You cleared out your bank and all that. But now you actually need them again. So that's kind of annoying. But at the same time, like, I can see it being a thematic experience. Like, of course, you would have to use the Mechagon junkyard tinkering to craft a robot that sits in your corner, right? So it's a little bittersweet because you're going to have to get some of these resources again that you might have thrown away. But at the same time, I think it's pretty cool, like in a thematic sense. And again, it's making old content relevant again, which is always pretty cool to me. So then we have, we're not going to have decor equivalent of transmog runs. We're still working through what that means in practice. It's only available during time walking. Is there something more deterministic we can do, etc.? But the thought of someone farming amount for years across multiple characters every week, finally earning it, and then being told, well, time to go back and grind for the couch is rough, and we'd like to avoid this. So that's an interesting one, because it means they're not going to have certain pieces of decor locked behind like a percentage drop chance, right? It's not like, I hope this drops. Or if it is, it's going to be like a 100% drop, right? Like you go, I'll use the Onyxia again. It's not like there's a 50% chance you get Onyxia's head. It's like you kill Onyxia, you get the head. You've done it, right? Cool. So I think that is cool. I think we already have enough percentage drop things to worry about. I think, like, I don't mind going back and doing the Spine of Deathwing again. If I can get like the Spine of Deathwing's couch, right? But if it only drops 100%, right? Like if I can go back and do that, cool, that's fine. And that's the only way I can get it. Like, I think as long as it's a 100% drop rate, it's cool. And I think a lot of people would feel that way. Some probably wouldn't, but I would. And then we have harkening again back to the long-lasting journey pillar. We're going to continue fleshing out decor from past expansions and future patches, and they will be earnable via the appropriate content of their expansion. So again, that's cool. I think they've also had that idea of making old content more relevant because, you know, it's already there. You may as well just like add some stuff to make it relevant. And this is probably the best way you can do it, you know, with player housing. One thing we'd like to give you a heads up about is that we intend to offer decor rewards for past expansion. Meta achievements, A World Awoken, Back from Beyond, and Farewell to Arms are the 3 currently available. If you think you might be a decor completionist, it's worth starting these. So already they're just like, there's going to be furniture decor for these, so go do them. So that's cool. Trust me, I'm a professional. Now this is going to be an interesting one because there's been rumors of people doing, you know, carpentry as a profession, woodworking, all this stuff. But it appears that they are not going to be going down that route. So here we go. We're not going to bury the lead here. Decor will be crafted by all existing non-gathering primary professions instead of creating a new profession solely dedicated to it. Each profession will be able to craft a few pieces of appropriate decor from each expansion using that expansion's version of the profession. E.g., to craft something from Mist of Pandaria, you will need the relevant Mist of Pandaria profession at the appropriate level. So that's a big one because, because some people I'm sure have leveled their past professions to a certain extent, or maybe you just completely didn't level those past professions at all, right? If you started playing in Battle for Azeroth and that's when you did your engineering, you're not going to have like, you know, Burning Crusade engineering, right? So that's actually pretty big because now this ties back into what I've been saying this whole video. It's making that old profession system relevant again. The only time I've done this is engineering because I could get like portals and stuff. So I went back and did that for engineering. So I can get portals all over. So that's nice. But for many of the other professions I have, I'm like, I'm not going to level this up. I'm not going to use it. So this does add a reason to go level those old professions up. So, I mean, this is another thing where it's like, I might as well just start doing this now if I already know old professions are going to be useful for housing stuff, right? So that's pretty neat. to craft something, players will need not only the required recipe and skill level, but they will also need to gather a new type of decor crafting specific reagent per expansion, as well as any required reagents from that expansion. In general, like most profession-made goods, crafted decor can be traded to other players and sold on the auction house. I figured that would be a thing that they would do. And then you can see here, there's ironwood lumber. So it appears they are going to have like a resource that you use to craft stuff, but I guess I don't know how you get it. Maybe it just drops off stuff, right? Like there's got to be a way, since there's not going to be a gathering profession for lumber. I imagine, unless maybe there is and we just don't know, but I feel like they're going to allow everybody to get these types of things, or maybe you just gather them with your current gathering professions. I have no idea, but lumber is a thing. We know that. Where'd I leave off? Auction house. Some example of what professions will be able to make. Blacksmithing creates decor primarily, made primarily of metal. Okay, so then maybe mining is going to give like some sort of metal, right? That would make sense. Enchanting creates magical decor like floating books or glowing orbs. Jewel crafting creates decor like gems, gem-studded objects, as well as being the designated stoneworking profession. Okay. Which is actually pretty cool. So they're going to, like, if you want stone tables and stone chairs and statues and stuff, then you could be jewel crafting, which is neat because it adds another element to jewel crafting. And overall, it adds another element to professions, making them more useful. And I think that's something that professions have really struggled with for forever. Is they've just always struggled to be useful outside of like unique kind of specific situations, right? And so I think adding this element to professions will make people even create alts just to have the ability to craft furniture, right? And maybe if it's too much, then you can just buy it on the auction house. But I think a lot of people are going to be picking up all the professions, trying to level them. This also makes me realize that, well, actually, maybe they say it here. Hold on. 2 of the points above should be underscored. Your professions and their levels from past expansions, your professions and their levels from past expansions matter, and so do some of the reagents from those expansions. You know, just in case you were looking for something else to do between now and the launch of housing. So that's what I wanted to point out. If you have a bunch of like Mists of Pandaria cloth, and it's just in your bank, and you're like, I'm gonna delete this. Now it's like, might need that cloth, right? So now more than that, because the amount of times you go to your bank and you're like, it's all old shit, I don't need it, and you start throwing it away, and now it's like, hold on, this might be useful. These old Northrend bolts I have from running Ulduar 200 times might actually make a difference and make it so I don't have to spend money on the auction house. Because now all these old resources, the auction house can go crazy with people just buying stuff like, I need Northrend copper bolts to craft my new thing. And then the price for all these old resources is going to like skyrocket. So that'll actually be interesting. See how it impacts the economy and everything. The World of Warcraft economy, of course. And then finally, we have some light housekeeping. We want to mention a smattering of never even heard of that word. A smattering of related but smaller things as well before we wrap things up. Decorations are only placeable if you have enough of them, based on how many you've collected. If you want to place 4 chairs, you'll need to collect 4 chairs. Furthermore, collected decorations are shared across your entire BattleNet account. That's another big one. So anything you collect on any character, on any of your game accounts, is shared across all of them. If you have 4 fountains and place 3 of them on the lawn of your Alliance house, your Horde house will only have 1 available to place. So that's actually very big, because I take it all your characters are sharing a house on the right? You have like an Alliance house and a Horde house. I didn't even think of that, because obviously we have Horde and Alliance characters. So I imagine they say it right here. You have a Horde house and an Alliance house. And so if you have like 5 chairs you've crafted, that's like account wide. So everything seems to be account wide, even between the 2 factions, which I think is cool, because then you kind of always know what you have. You don't have to be like, does my Horde house have this and the Alliance, right? You know, back and forth. But it also makes it seem like it might get a little confusing. I don't know, but I do think it's cool that it's all account-wide and shareable. So I think it's all right. I'm sure there's going to be some issue that'll pop up from it, but that's like anything. On the flip side, there's a concept of unique decor that you can only place once, no matter how many copies of it you may have. Doesn't make sense, for example, place 9 copies of Onyxia's head on your wall, despite how many times you may have killed her. Well, that's just... that's the entire experience is ruined. I've lost... I've lost all will to set up my house now that I can't have 9 Onyxia's heads. 1 out of 10. Terrible. No, but... but that makes sense. I would imagine that if you have this unique decor, that means that you can place it once in your Alliance house and once in your Horde house. They don't really clarify that, but I imagine that's what it means. Because by them saying this earlier, it almost feels like you can only place it once and you have to pick whether it's Horde or Alliance house. It's like they got to clarify that a little more. But I would imagine you get to place it in both, right? So whatever. You'll note a mention of housing-specific activities earlier. That might be better worded as neighborhood-specific activities, which we don't really know much about yet, but I'm curious to learn about. Is that they keep really referencing neighborhoods in all these articles, so... we're committed to an ongoing release of new decorations, going both backwards in the previous expansions as well as forward to new ones. What do you want to see? Thanks for reading. So that's that. That's the article. Honestly, I think it sounds great. I love the fact that they're using old content to, do a bunch of decorations and furniture and all this stuff. That's kind of what I was hoping they would do anyway. I'm sure we're gonna get store stuff, all right? That's probably the driving factor behind why they're even doing all this. But as long as there's just a bunch of stuff to get in game, like, that's fine with me, right? Like, there's gonna be rep rewards, there's gonna be old raids and dungeons, probably PvP rewards. Like, you go finish a Warsong Gulch match or win one, and maybe you get some Warsong Gulch stuff you can put in your house, right? The possibilities are endless. Like, there's just so much stuff. Professions, like cooking. There's probably, like, you can make a stove through cooking, and or like you can make food you can put on the tables through cooking, which I guess makes more sense because you can do that in like Animal Crossing and stuff, right? But maybe a blacksmith can make you a what do you call it? Like a stove or something you put in your house, right? Like, I love that they're doing this. I think it's cool. It adds so much to the game, and it adds that element of something is always happening, even if there's a downtime in the game currently, right? Because there's so many times where there's no patches, or the patch is kind of whatever, or it's all time gated, like for right now. And then it's like, well, what am I gonna do? Well, now you can always work on, doing old stuff, getting old pieces of furniture from Burning Crusade or whatever it might be, right? So I think that's really cool, and I'm excited for it. Like, everything I've seen has been above and beyond my expectations for player housing. So let me know what you think down in the comment section below about anything that I talked about in this video. And yeah, thanks for watching. If you want another video to watch, here's Pointless Top 10 Races that should be playable in World of Warcraft. I just put it up. Go watch it. It's a good one. Okay? Okay. See you.